Mahatma Gandhi, born on October 2, 1869, in Porbandar, India, is one of the most influential figures in modern history. His philosophy of nonviolent resistance, or Satyagraha, not only played a pivotal role in India's struggle for independence from British rule but also inspired civil rights movements around the world. Gandhi's life was marked by a commitment to social justice, equality, and the power of peaceful protest. This essay explores Gandhi's early life, his political and social philosophies, his role in the Indian independence movement, and his enduring legacy. Chapter 1. Early life and education. 1.1 Childhood and family background. Gandhi was born into a middle-class family in a coastal town in Gujarat. His father, Karamchand Gandhi, was a local politician, and his mother, Putlabai, was deeply religious, instilling in him the values of compassion and tolerance. Gandhi's upbringing was steeped in the traditions of Hinduism, which shaped his moral framework throughout his life. 1.2 Education. In India and England. At the age of 18, Gandhi travelled to London to study law. His experiences there exposed him to diverse cultures and ideas. Although he faced challenges, such as prejudice against Indians and difficulties adjusting to Western customs, he managed to complete his legal studies and returned to India in 1891. His time in England also introduced him to vegetarianism and the writings of various philosophers, which influenced his thinking. Chapter 2. Early career and activism in South Africa. 2.1 Legal practice in South Africa. Upon returning to India, Gandhi struggled to establish a successful legal practice. In 1893, he accepted a position in South Africa, where he encountered severe racial discrimination against Indians. This experience galvanized him to take action against injustices faced by the Indian community. 2.2 Birth of Satyagraha. In South Africa, Gandhi developed his philosophy of Satyagraha, or truth-force. He organized protests against discriminatory laws, such as the pass laws that restricted the movement of Indians. Through nonviolent resistance, Gandhi led campaigns that ultimately resulted in significant concessions from the South African government. This marked the beginning of his journey as a political leader and social reformer. Chapter 3. Return to India and the fight for independence. 3.1 Arrival and initial involvement. Gandhi returned to India in 1915, equipped with a wealth of experience in activism and a commitment to social reform. He initially focused on local issues, such as improving the conditions of peasants suffering under oppressive taxation and land policies. 3.2 Champaran and Kheda movements. In 1917, Gandhi led the Champaran movement, advocating for the rights of indigo farmers in Bihar. He organized protests against exploitative practices imposed by British planters. Similarly, in the Kheda district of Gujarat, he supported farmers facing crop failure and tax burdens, successfully negotiating with the government on their behalf. These early successes established Gandhi as a prominent leader in the Indian independence movement. Chapter 4. The Non-Cooperation Movement. 4.1 Call for non-cooperation. In response to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in 1919, where British troops killed hundreds of unarmed Indians, Gandhi launched the non-cooperation movement in 1920. He called for Indians to withdraw from British institutions, boycott British goods, and promote self-reliance through the use of indigenous products. 4.2 Mass mobilization and impact. The movement garnered massive support, leading to widespread protests and boycotts. Gandhi's approach united various segments of Indian society, including peasants, workers, and the middle class. However, the movement was called off in 1922 after the violent outbreak at Chowri Chaura, where protesters killed policemen. Gandhi took responsibility, emphasizing the importance of nonviolence. Chapter 5. The Salt March and Civil Disobedience. 5.1 The Salt Act. In the early 1930s, Gandhi targeted the British Salt Act, which imposed a monopoly on salt production and levied taxes on it. He viewed this as an unjust law that affected all Indians, particularly the poor. 5.2 The Salt March. In March 1930, Gandhi embarked on the Salt March, a 240-mile trek to the Arabian Sea to produce salt in defiance of British law. This act of civil disobedience galvanized the nation and drew international attention to the Indian independence movement. Thousands joined him along the way, showcasing the power of grassroots mobilization. 5.3 Global impact and British response. The Salt March attracted significant media coverage, placing pressure on the British government. Gandhi was arrested, but the movement continued to gain momentum, inspiring similar acts of civil disobedience across India. Chapter 6: The Second World War and Quit India Movement. 6.1 Impact of World War II. As World War II erupted, the British government sought India's support. Gandhi, however, called for complete independence and launched the Quit India movement in 1942. He urged Indians to do or die in their fight against British rule. 6.2 Repression and detention. The Quit India movement faced harsh repression, with leaders, including Gandhi, arrested. However, the spirit of resistance spread across the country, with protests and strikes occurring in various regions. This marked a turning point in the independence struggle, as it demonstrated the resolve of the Indian people. Chapter 7: Path to Independence. 7.1 Post-war negotiations. Following the war, Britain faced mounting pressure to address Indian demands for independence. The Labour government elected in 1945 recognized the need for a political solution. Gandhi played a crucial role in negotiations with British officials and Indian leaders. 7.2 Partition and communal tensions. As independence approached, tensions between Hindus and Muslims escalated, leading to demands for a separate Muslim state, Pakistan. Gandhi advocated for unity and communal harmony, but the political landscape became increasingly polarized. 7.3 Independence and partition. On August 15, 1947, India gained independence, but it was accompanied by the traumatic partition of the country into India and Pakistan. The division led to widespread violence and displacement, deeply troubling Gandhi, who had devoted his life to promoting peace and unity. Chapter 8: Philosophy and Principles. 8.1 Nonviolence and Satyagraha. Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence, ahimsa, and Satyagraha remains foundational to his legacy. He believed in the power of love and truth as transformative forces in the struggle for justice. His approach emphasized that means are as important as ends. Peaceful methods should be employed to achieve noble goals. 8.2 Simplicity and Self-Reliance. Gandhi advocated for simplicity and self-reliance. He promoted the use of khadi, homespun cloth, to reduce dependence on British goods and encouraged self-sufficiency in rural communities. His lifestyle reflected his beliefs, as he lived modestly and engaged in manual labor. 8.3 Interfaith harmony. Gandhi championed interfaith dialogue and sought to bridge divides between different religious communities. He believed that spiritual unity was essential for a harmonious society and worked tirelessly to promote understanding and compassion. Chapter 9: Legacy and Influence. 9.1 Influence on global movements. Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolent resistance influenced numerous leaders and movements worldwide. Figures such as Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and Cesar Chavez drew inspiration from Gandhi's teachings in their struggles for civil rights and social justice. 9.2 Continued relevance. Gandhi's ideas remain relevant today, as societies grapple with issues of injustice, inequality, and violence. His emphasis on nonviolent resistance and dialogue serves as a guiding principle for contemporary movements advocating for change. 9.3 Commemoration and recognition. Gandhi's legacy is commemorated through various initiatives, including the International Day of Nonviolence, observed on his birthday. His writings, including The Story of My Experiments with Truth, continue to inspire readers and activists alike. Chapter 10: Assassination and Martyrdom. 10.1 Assassination. On January 30, 1948, Gandhi was assassinated by Nathuram Godse, a Hindu nationalist who opposed Gandhi's approach to communal harmony. His assassination sent shockwaves throughout India and the world, as millions mourned the loss of a leader dedicated to peace. 10.2 National Mourning and Reflection. Gandhi's death prompted nationwide mourning and reflection on his teachings. Leaders and citizens alike recognized the urgency of continuing his legacy of nonviolence and unity. His funeral procession was attended by hundreds of thousands, illustrating the profound impact he had on the Indian populace. Conclusion. Mahatma Gandhi's life and work encapsulate a profound commitment to nonviolence, justice, and equality. His journey from a young boy in Gujarat to the leader of a nation's struggle for independence exemplifies the transformative power of conviction and moral integrity. Gandhi's legacy, rooted in the principles of Satyagraha and Ahimsa, continues to resonate across the globe, inspiring movements for justice and peace. As the world grapples with complex social and political challenges, Gandhi's teachings serve as a beacon of hope, reminding us that change can be achieved through love, understanding, and nonviolent resistance.